I want to welcome you on behalf of Tim Kimmel, Adam Jordan, and myself to our 23rd annual client luncheon. You know, our sincere thanks, first of all, for your loyalty, your support. We've just been honored and humbled by all of you. And again, we're so thankful for that. Our hope, our goal today is to really provide some tangible information on the economy. And I hesitate to say it's not going to be as clear as the skies are out there. And also to be able to have some fun, enjoy some music, and just thank you very sincerely from our heart. Well, a little bit about the last, I hear some laughs. The last 3 quarters. We've had a very volatile year. You know, a little bit of history. So the first 3 quarters of 2015, one of the most volatile 3 quarters that we've had in the last 4 years. In fact, this last quarter, the third quarter, is the most volatile in the last 4 years. Now, many of you, when you've looked at your statements, have noticed a lot of ups and downs each month. In fact, August, I believe, we had the biggest declining month this year, which is 6%. We had 8.5% positive recently. But let me ask you by a show of hands, how many, when they open their statements, are pleased with what they see? Show of hands. You all are wondering where I'm going with this, aren't you? How many are a bit frustrated and wish it would be better? How many just don't open their statements anymore? Now, you know what? I think most of you, hey, remember, Tim and I have talked to y'all. Most of you would probably raise your hands right there. But you know, it's not so bad, because let me give you a quote by a very noteworthy investor by the name of Warren Buffett. And what did he say about that? He said this about his investment strategy. He said, "I never attempt to make money on the stock market. I buy on the assumption that they could close the market the next day and not reopen it for 5 years." You see, the truth behind that is what Warren Buffett does is, by a good, solid portfolio, recognize what his objectives are, which are to grow for the long term, and not worry about the day-to-day fluctuations. Because as much as anything, day-to-day fluctuations are more about volatility and randomness, and what we're really looking for most of you, are really 3 objectives. One is preservation of capital, because this is money that most of you have saved for 2 and 3 decades. And it's got to last for another 2 or 3 decades. So it's preservation of capital. It's income and inflation-hedged income for the years ahead. And finally, it's growth of capital. You know, if you think about it, when you're working in your work life, it's just the opposite. Growth was paramount. So we take that very seriously. But remember, we're looking at what the most important objective is to you, which is to make sure that your money lasts longer than you. To make matters worse, you know, we've seen a lot of the media talk about what the market's doing. You know, the media is very good at telling you what the market did. They're pretty good at telling you why it did what it did, but they're terrible at telling you what's going to happen. And that's why we tend to all listen to it. But let me share with you a comment that one media commentator said. And he said this: "If I'd only followed CNBC's advice, I'd have $1 million today, provided I started with $10 million. Well, as I said, our goal today is to really provide perspective and a framework and insight into the events of today and how it's intertwined, and how the economy and the markets are intertwined with politics, interest rates, and the global economy. Second of all, as I said, is to convey our sincere thanks for all of you and our appreciation. And third is to host a delicious luncheon where we can talk to you and have some fun. Well, in just a few minutes, we're going to begin our luncheon. You've got your programs in front of you. But I always like to begin and open with a few questions for all of you. How many, by the way, have been to these events? How many have been to these events before? Show of hands. Wow. How many have been to more than 5 of them? More than 10? Okay, great. Welcome back. So this is another question, though. Think about the length of time that you've all been a client of ours, that we're serving you for the length of time you started with us. How many of you have been with us for less than 2 years? Show of hands. Okay, thank you. You probably haven't seen much return. Remember, long term. Secondly, 2 to 5 years. Third, 5 to 10. Okay, 11 to 15. Wow. 16 to 20. 20 to 25. Anybody beyond 25? We started, yeah, very good. I know y'all. For those of you that may remember, we started the firm in 1987. So we're very thankful. We've got about a 98% client retention rate for 15 and 20 years. So thank you very, very much. Well, this is also meant to be an appreciation for you. We also made it available for you to invite guests. So how many here are guests of someone? Very good. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you so much. Hope you'll enjoy it. Well, our mission as a firm is really to empower you, our clients, to have a fulfilling retirement and pursue the passions that you all want to in retirement. That's our goal, to clearly define your objectives, have a strategic plan in place that's process-driven, to really candidly is to free you up from the confusion and sometimes complexity of the markets. So our goal, like I said, is to have your money outlive yours. And our pledge really is that we're here for you for the rest of your lives. So we built some services and support, which I'll talk about a little bit later, that really play into a lot of that. Now, most of you have been through that process. So another question. How many of you, think about your retirement date. Let's do this. How many of you are retired? Okay. Wow. How many have been retired for more than 5 years? More than 10 years? Keep your hands up. More than 20 years? We call, you folks are seniors, but I would say that, but we're all seniors. How many wish they were retired that aren't retired? Well, the other question just to ask is, we taught for many years a series of corporate financial education classes and seminars for the Boeing Company. About 21 years through Boeing Education Network, Boeing Community Connection, BMA, Boeing Management Association, SPIA, Boeing Primetime. I was one of the first financial advisors that taught on the Boeing Savings Bond campaign in 1988. How many are affiliated with Boeing in some way, spouse or retired or working? Great. You know, since that time, by the way, we're actually beginning to teach more classes now. As you may know, the benefits have changed dramatically. And Tim or I may have talked to you about that. We're monitoring that very closely, especially for new hires that are coming out, or new retirees. Our clientele has expanded very nicely, and we thank you so much for the referrals and recommendations you've made, because we have a lot of folks from other walks of life as well, so we welcome you also. What we do as your firm, we have a fiduciary responsibility to act in your best interest in what we do. We bring together organizations and money managers that we believe best meets your needs. As you know, we have the ability of selecting from a wide variety of fund companies, actually over 12,000. We've narrowed that down to about 45 funds in 12 different fund companies. Now, that's our first team. We have a second team also. We've had meetings with those. We've had 74 meetings this last 12 months with money management firms. We go on due diligence trips. We screen the investments on a day-to-day basis. These are ones that we have no allegiance to. They don't pay us, you pay us. These are ones we believe that best meets your needs and are key components of your portfolio. So they're out there as well. So it's one of the strategic alliances we have. We also work through what's called a broker-dealer firm. You've seen Cetera on your statements. Again, Cetera is what we use as, they provide services to us. Once again, we're independent. We don't have to stay with them. We stay with them because we believe they best meet your services as well. So we're honored to have 2 individuals from Cetera as well. And they're, by the way, an association. Cetera Financial Group is an association of over 9,000 advisors and advisory firms. Cetera Advisor Network, which is a subset, is about 2,500. And we're consistently, by the way, in the top 5 of all the firms nationwide. So we're very thankful for that. And we're honored to have thank you. So we're honored to have the president of Cetera Advisor Networks, Doug King, with us. Doug. And also Randy, are you here? Randy Miller in the back. Randy Miller also at Cetera Advisor Networks, Senior Relationship Specialist. And then also as well as the investment management firms, the Cetera relationship, what we also do, and we talked about this last time, and that's the fact that we specialize and focus on clients in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. That's the group we serve. And some are younger, so don't worry, we still work with you too, Justin. But that's what we specialize in, and we're one of the few firms that's built out services to that end. In fact, our oldest client's 102. And as such, we have looked at what's important to you in the services that we provide and how we can add more value. We talked last time about the estate transition service we have. And Kelly, by the way, is responsible for that. So if one of the things that's going to happen to all of us is at some point, one of you is going to have poor health, one of you is going to possibly pass away, certainly. So what we've done is built out that service. So we work hand in hand with your executor. We don't take the place of an attorney, but we work hand in hand with your executor, not just transitioning the accounts you have with us, but contacting the credit union, contacting the bank, working with beneficiaries. We now have worked regularly with spouses when one spouse has passed away, and now we have quite a number of kids of clients as well. But the whole idea is make it as smooth as possible from a logistical point of view when that tragic event happens. What we also do is recognize that there are housing needs and long-term care needs. We believe everybody needs a long-term care plan. It doesn't mean you necessarily need long-term care insurance. There are many other viable options. We want to talk about that and have a strategy and a plan for you. One of those may be long-term care insurance. One of those may be partial insurance, but also one of the others may be looking at different housing arrangements. Many of you have heard of, and some are in, continuing care retirement communities or life care communities. We've had clients in life care communities, clients in adult family homes, clients that age in place and bring folks in. We're forging relationships, folks, with home care agencies. We have a long-term care consultant who's an insurance broker. We also have a consultant who works exclusively in the continuing care retirement communities. This is all built out to serve you when the need arises. That way you're not having to look at a book or going to your friend or going to responding to an ad. So just recognize we've got that in place. We've got 2 of those representatives with us today. So Susan Sabella and Linda Furman. And they have a table out there as well. Susan is involved in long-term care. She speaks from an educational point of view. How many have met with Susan? A few of you. Okay, very good. And then Linda Furman, she's worked with a number of clients that are far older than all of you. Some aren't, though. But what happens is what they're looking at is they're looking at housing options. And as you meet with Tim or with me, we're not just looking at financially, is that the right move to make or what are the options, but also what are some of the facilities. We've toured as a financial team 5 facilities on our own. You know what? We toured a number of the larger ones in the area. And you know what the directors say to us when we go into a facility? We go as a group. They say, you're the only financial advisors that have ever come to see us. You know what they also say? They said, usually financial advisors are the biggest problem we have. You know why? Because you're going to buy into those, and you're going to take money possibly away from management. Folks, we're concerned about what's important to you. And that's why we're being an advocate there. That's why I want to forge these relationships. So with that, we're excited to have the team we have today. We're excited to have the services that we have in place. We're going to begin our dinner service or our lunch service. This is and you know what you're going to find is when you get desserts, there's two different kinds of desserts. One is a warm berry cobbler with vanilla ice cream. The other is like this caramel truffle that's really nice. It looks really good. But you know what we're going to do? There's going to be one that goes in one, every other one is going to get a different dessert. So think about the principle there. You know where I'm going. We talk about, what is it? Diversification. Also, many of you might want to hone your negotiation skills around the table. So you've got your program in front of you. Without further ado, enjoy a beautiful lunch. You're going to hear the band continue to play, and then we'll come right back. Miles Gordon will come up, and we'll have our feature presentation. Thank you so much.